was a survey. District's got new ordinance.
To order. First item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Been motioned by Board Member Waddell. Second.
Adams, second.
Seconded by Board Member Adams. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Next item on the agenda is audience participation. So first and only opportunity for the audience to participate. Anybody?
You want me to?
Yeah. If you would just come up to them. Let us know your name if you would.
Amanda Long. I'm sure you've all heard of me. Mine has to do with the kindergarten enrollment. My daughter was, I was 14th in line to enroll her, and she was already 78. That's a really big issue for me because we have carpool. We don't have carpool to a Laughlin. And if the kindergarten enrollment was supposed to be, you had to go to the kindergarten roundup, and it came as whoever got their paperwork in, who would be the first 69 or whatever in line. Well, I was 14th. How did she end up being number 78th and not going to the school? That was our choice. Let's see here. I've talked to Dean Cat many times, and it was basically told to have her ride the bus. Well, I have carpool set up for Roosevelt. I don't want the bus. I don't need the bus. I have a friend that her kid went to Wilson. Their second choice was Roosevelt. That's the school she's going to. How is it that my first and only choice was booted out when somebody's second choice, then they got the school that they didn't even want to go to as their second choice? So my question is how was she already number 78th when I was 14th in line? And because nobody's given me an answer, I would like to know why she's not going to the school she's attended for 2 years. So.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're not going to say anything?
We'll have to look into it. I mean, but we obviously don't have the information in front of us.
Okay. Well,
Mr. Keffer's not here, is he?
I don't think so.
So, I just got a couple questions.
yeah.
So this 14th in line, my kids have all gone to Roosevelt. So you're talking about the pre-enrollment day?
Well, we had to fill out papers prior to kindergarten roundup. I filled out this paper saying we intended to stay with Roosevelt. And then kindergarten roundup, I was 14th in line to turn in my paperwork for her.
Okay.
And Keffer's like, oh, you're already number 78, find a new school. But on the kindergarten roundup form, it says to make sure you attend that meeting and get your forms in so you get the choice, or the school of your choice. Well, Roosevelt's list was already listed out 1 through 90-some kids. She was number 78th. We had no chance of getting her into the school we wanted because it was already picked. And I don't think that's fair. I mean, what's the point of me going to that meeting? What's the point of me finding?
Was there possibly some discussion the year before about you possibly homeschooling?
Yes. But I cannot do that because my custody issue with my daughter's dad,
Okay.
he's not on board. So.
But you had let them know you planned on homeschooling, though.
I told him if she doesn't go to Roosevelt, that was my next choice. But both parents have to be on board, and we're already in a custody situation with the court, so I can't just go and do whatever I want on that situation. Laughlin was never a choice of mine. I'm not a fan of the school. I know a lot of people that sent their kids there and pulled them out the next year because they just didn't care for the way it was ran. And I know some kids do really well. Some people really like it. I've known about it. I did some college internship there, and I didn't care for it. That's why it was never on my list to send her there. But I don't know why my child should go to preschool at Roosevelt for 2 years and then, oh, well, I'm sorry, she's number 78. You can't send her to the school she knows for 2 years. And I think it's unfair. I mean, I understand that you have to bring in all these Washington kids, but they already have to move. Why are you moving my kid? And if I'm the only one with this issue, why is my child being singled out? Because I know there's several other people that...
Let me clarify that. You're not the only one with this issue.
Oh, I know I'm not.
And when you indicated that you were intended to homeschool your child, that pretty much took them off the list at Roosevelt?
That was never brought up before kindergarten roundup.
I know. And after that evening...
So you took my child off the list because I said I might homeschool her if she doesn't go to Roosevelt?
That was the note on the... That's what the note says. So that wasn't a priority anywhere, and I'm not so sure that your paperwork was ever turned in anywhere.
That's a load of baloney because I turned it in like twice because they did it before they decided to close Washington. They had pre-enrollment, and her teacher said, if you turn in this paperwork, you're guaranteed a spot at Roosevelt. I turned it in the very same day. I filled it out as I picked up my daughter, turned it in to the teacher. She said, good, you're good to go. And then when Washington closed, they said, we need to know if you still intend to send your child to Roosevelt. And I said, yes. The only time I brought up homeschooling was when I got the letter stating that she had been assigned to a different school. That is the only time I mentioned homeschooling.
And that's when all of the lists and, you know, where we're going to place, and we're still placing.
No, I got the
Yeah.
letter saying, your daughter will be attending a Laughlin.
But she wasn't on
Homeschool was
that.
never brought up until she was
Not-
assigned to a
I'm not going to
Laughlin.
argue with you about it, but.
Well, that's fine, I'm just saying, I never said homeschooling
Okay.
until you said she's going to a Laughlin, so you can't tell me that that was your deciding factor.
Well, we'll go ahead and, like I said, we
Yeah,
can look
follow
into
up.
it some more and follow up and see what we
Okay,
can find.
well, I would appreciate a follow-up since I didn't get one the first time I contacted the school board, so,
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had this conversation in May,
yes.
and then started again, and it's answer's the same as it was in May. So,
Well, you haven't answered me why she got booted out of the school she attended for 2 years.
the preschool is not part of our school district and considered as a guarantee that that child's going to continue to attend where they went to preschool.
But then why did I fill out the form saying, fill this out, you're guaranteed to keep your spot?
None of the forms
I
you
don't-
fill out guarantee you a spot.
No,
Well, then why did you tell people that?
I don't.
We don't.
Who told
I don't
you
know who
that,
told
I
you that.
guess?
Miss Vanek?
Well, then I guess maybe we need to talk to her then
Yeah.
and let her know. But we don't, any of those forms that are filled out for any of the schools you go in, you're never guaranteed a spot. just for
Okay,
filling
then
them out.
kindergarten roundup, what's the point of going if it's, you have to turn in your paperwork in order to guarantee that spot when I was the 14th person to turn
It's
in my
not to
paperwork?
guarantee the
Yeah,
spot,
we're-
it's just so
we're
you can
looking
take a look at
how
it.
kindergarten roundup went. We know we had issues there, and we'll do adjusting and make some changes, and
For next year?
yes.
Yeah, that doesn't help me this year. So,
Okay. Thank you for your time. Any other participation from the audience? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to the next item, school spotlights. Dean?
First thing I want to do is just thank the Hayes Public Library for donating the baby grand piano that they had in there. Johnny Matlock and some of the other music teachers, I believe, looked at that, and that'll go out to Hayes High School. It's better than anything that we have there, so we appreciate that donation. Just want to comment on how many teachers we have coming in through the summer, doing iPad training, Surface Pro, look, the cadre training, Canvas, all of these different things. And Joanne Jennings has been doing a lot of reading training. Just to see the enthusiasm with that, it's just really rewarding to see. Unfortunately, I know we still have a few issues that, you know, getting people on Canvas training and some of those things. We're working that through with the company. But overall, it's been a very big success, and we've had probably more than typical year. It's nice to see the excitement for that.
Any questions for deans on any of the school spotlights? Okay. Next item is report of committees.
We do not have any reports at this time.
Easy enough. Moving on, communications from other organizations.
Do not have any other communications. Summer still.
And moving on to the next one, report of superintendent.
First, I just want to mention, you know, we had declared some equipment down at the bus barn, vehicles, tire changer, those things, as surplus property, and that was on Purple Wave, and we received $23,100 for that, which I was really surprised. I thought that we did really well on that, so that'll go in capital outlay and maybe offset the cost of more transportation needs as we go through the year. We need to look at the board retreat date. I know Doodle, the results are there. You should have that in front of you. There isn't going to be a time that works for everybody every time, and I'm not so worried about admin staff, but board members. If you look at, let me pull it up. If you look at the very first date mentioned is Saturday, the 22nd, August 22nd. There's one board member who can't make it that day. The Sunday doesn't work. There's, I guess Lance is the one there, but Monday, the,
I actually have had something free up on my schedule on the 22nd
oh,
of August. Is that where we're at?
22nd of August.
Yes, my schedule's actually changed that day. since.
So does I'd say that's
Sounds
the
like
day-
the 22nd is the day we'll
I'd say
go.
that's the day we'll meet, because that'll be the only day then that everyone, all the board members can be there. Is that,
And Dean, I guess I'll leave it to you as far as what time you want to go ahead and kick off, because it looked like everybody was available.
how
across the board,
long do
8,
you
9.
want to anticipate meeting? We can go as long as it takes, but we probably, because as I go through this, let me talk about the two. We talked to KASB and the Docking Institute. To me, this is a very easy choice. The Docking Institute has offered their services for free. I don't know how we turn that down. So I will give them the date of the 22nd. We'll talk about time in a minute and make sure that that works for them. I don't have anything verified, but I just think that'll be a good date, and we'll have to work together on what type of agenda and what our goal is for them. What do we want to accomplish? But I'll make that contact tomorrow and make sure that that works. Time, 8 o'clock, fine with everybody?
I think
Let's just plan on 8 o'clock then
8 to
on the
1 last time, I
22nd.
think is what we did.
And where do we want to meet? Just here? I mean, that,
fine with me.
yeah, that's fine. So we'll just do that.
Can we do,
Yeah, we'll do something out there.
okay.
Yeah, this is real difficult to talk. Yeah,
Okay.
we'll set it up there. All right, great. The next thing then, as far as schedules, board pictures. In years past, there's always been board picture or board members hanging in the hall upstairs. And we have that scheduled, plus your ID badge, plus on internet or website. That is scheduled, and I think, again, everybody verified that this would work August 31st at 5:30 here. And they'll have a thing set up and take everyone's picture on that time. So that'll work. For everybody, that would be great. Talked about Docking Institute. Obviously, I think that's the way to go. KASB does a good job as well, but that obviously is going to cost us, and we'll use Docking. I think we'll be very satisfied with their services.
Great.
We will have to set negotiation dates here. We've kind of haven't met for a couple weeks. We'll meet in executive session and kind of go over strategy again and talk about a few things and then set our next date. Last thing, I just wanted to give you an update on the Early Childhood Connections move. The staff, most of the staff is down at Washington Building. They are moving in the classrooms, everything's getting cleaned, going along fine. If you walk in, you think, oh my gosh, it's really, looks like a mess, but it's all getting there. It's going to take time. But I think they're going to be very happy there, and I walked around and looked at the cubicles they set up and people working, and it seemed like it's going to work out great. A lot of things going on across the district. I mean, one of the things, the track folks were there, put the surface down, the striping set up for sometime soon. It just kind of depends on their schedule. I think the weather has them behind, it'll depend what it's doing here, but all that's getting taken care of. The lecture hall floors getting just about complete, and then they'll do the seats and all of those things. So again, things progressing well that way. So,
Great.
going good.
Thank you, Dean. Next item on the agenda, financial reports. Tracy?
Attached, I had a list of the funds. I didn't have all the funds available by the time we needed to post the agenda, but I wanted to update you on where we were at that point. A few things I wanted to point out. I listed the revenue and expenses from last year and the revenue expenses from this year. And as you'll see on the first line in general fund, we do have $225,000 less budgeted for expenses this year. So we're looking at already holding that over. I think over time it'll actually be over higher than that we'll be able to potentially save if there aren't any further changes in the legislature. But that is our plan right now, as we reduce our expenses by the $225,000. Our revenue, though, is down $50,000. If you recall from the block grant, we're receiving 99.6% of our general fund state aid. The 0.4% included in the block grant is going to the Extraordinary Needs Fund. So that 0.4% will be at the governor and their committee's discretion on who's having enough changes in their valuations or student population or whatever to divvy that out. But our portion is just over $54,000 that will be going into that Extraordinary Needs Fund. So our budget has been reduced. Our state aid has been reduced by that amount. The next line in supplemental general, you'll see a projected balance of $817,000. That is our carryover. We don't have the budget authority to spend that. That is just money that is carrying over through our mill levy. So again, I just wanted to point that out. You'll see in contingency reserve, we have the $331,000, not anticipating spending any of that next year. In capital outlay, we have an ending balance of just over $1 million. We've got the valuations from Rush County and Ellis County. Rush County was down 21%, and Ellis County was down 3.8% for our portion of the school district, which equates to about $94,000 that we'll receive in less through the mill levy and capital outlay. So that $1 million, we found that out mid-July, so that $1 million will be a little bit less than $94,000. Another thing I wanted to point out was for nutrition services, we received $78,000 in revenue. That's line 32. After this was printed, and so they did expend less than they received, and their ending balance at the end of last year was $405,000. So that was one thing that was after the fact. So I just wanted to point out that their balance is higher than what it was when this was printed. Are there any questions on this form? I just want to try to kind of give you a simplistic view of some changes from last year to this year, so you can kind of see what direction we're heading.
So if we had to summarize, we're going to be down between the 53,000 and then the 90-some thousand.
Correct.
In total. Okay.
Correct. But we still have less budgeted expenditures than that. So I still anticipate, we'll be able to stay well within our budget, even with those losses.
The $94,000 is in capital outlay just
Right.
because of the loss of district valuation. Actually, tomorrow, Tracy's going to be listening to a conference call. Our valuation, I mean, we feel pretty good. It only went down in Ellis County to 3.8. A lot of surrounding districts have dropped over 30%. So, but there's a conference call. We're going to see if it would benefit us at all for those counties that, or districts that oil valuation dropped. I know Waukenee's one and several of them, but we'll see if there's anything we can do. I hate to send the $54,000 in extraordinary funds for, for somebody in Johnson County to get those funds instead of us. But we'll see. But there'll be extraordinary needs all across the state. I don't think we're looking at it right now. I don't think we're going to qualify for that. But
then how does that, the $405,000 ending balance for nutritional services, what do we do there? I mean, what impact does that have?
Equipment is a big piece of that.
Okay.
When Jessica needs to buy equipment, we're getting ready to do a lot of that. It comes out of that. We don't have to subsidize food service with any general fund money.
Okay.
So that's the caveat there. A lot of districts have to subsidize that with other dollars, and we don't.
That would come out of general fund, not capital outlay
What's that?
for equipment?
It would come out of food service.
No, but I'm saying if she needed it and didn't have it, it would come out of,
Possibly.
okay.
But salaries, all of those things, that purchasing food, all of those things, a lot of places have to subsidize what they do. But,
So we're able to actually carry that
Over.
Mhm.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been,
All 405 stays in nutritional services.
oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, we can't sweep those funds and do some things they've done in Topeka. But, Well, there's a couple other things I was going to say, but go ahead.
Yeah, and then for next year, I just wanted to update you on the 15-16 school year. KSDE had to rewrite their entire budget document program with the block grant changes, and so we received it over 3 weeks later than normal. We just received that last Wednesday, so we started inputting our numbers. We will review the final budget document on the 29th with our local auditors through Adams, Brown, Barron, and Ball, and then we'll go to Topeka on July 30th to review with the State Department of Education. And so we'll have the final budget document posted on the website on the 31st, and then the 3rd is when we'll need to do the notice of hearing, but it'll give you a few days at least. I apologize for the delay. It's just everything has been very slow coming our way so we can even start entering things. And one thing I also wanted to point out on the budget document you're going to see in general fund, if you look at, we show 2 years ago, last year, and then the current year on the budget document, and you'll see that it's about $3 million higher in general fund, and that is because the state is now requiring that we take CAPERS money and also our supplemental general state aid, put those in general fund. They sweep out within minutes. But it's going to show that our budget's actually that $3 million, excuse me, plus higher because of those flow-throughs. So if you see a big jump in general fund, that's the reason why. We're not getting any more money. It's just flowing through in a different way.
Thank you.
Just a couple other side notes. We didn't get the county valuation till, what was the date, the 13th? And instead of the 1st, well, then we didn't get our software from Topeka until, what, last Wednesday?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think we're just as far as I think we should be. We'll make the deadlines for August 3rd to have the notice of hearing, talk about those things. I'll just make a couple general statements. I mean, don't hold me to this, but right now I would say, looking at the local option budget, it appears that mill levy would probably stay somewhere in the same, I don't think it's going to increase. Could be flat. If it does, it's going to be very minimal. Overall, district-wide, I think we're going to be down. We paid the no-fund warrant off early. Last year when we talked about that, we budgeted for that, so that's going to decrease that mill levy some. Another one that the mill levy may be affected with the lower valuation is the declining enrollment that we generate, or we get $489,155. That Board of Tax Appeals approves that. And to generate that amount, the mill levy may have to go up a little bit, but overall, I think that we're going to be pretty flat. And again, we don't have all the information. Getting close, but we will have that soon. But I'm not worried that we're going to come in and say we have to do this big mill levy increase to make things work. I think we're going to be in pretty good shape that way, so, with the carryover and local option budget especially. Just, we still are worried about next year, and that's what we had talked about earlier with contingency reserve, those things. What'll happen in the future with revenues, state revenues, those things. So again, I think we have a pretty good plan in place that we would be able to handle some cut, more so than a lot of places. But we're still very mindful of that. But right now, they're going through with the block grant, even though the court or the 3 judges said it's unconstitutional. The software, they do have the other traditional software. They haven't sent it out, haven't done anything with it. I don't know how they could do both of them, but so we're going forward with the block grant as it was introduced. So.
Good.
That's all I have, unless there's any other questions. Thank you.
None. We'll move
Thank
on.
you.
Thanks, Tracy. Move on to the next item of business, the consent agenda. A motion to approve the board meeting minutes for July 6, 2015, personnel transactions, financial report, clerk's report, investment report, petty cash report, approval of bills in the amount of $1,597,254.06, unencumbered cash balances as of July 1st, 2015, and early childhood connections SF 425.
I'd make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Been moved by Board Member Waddell. We have a second.
Either one.
Seconded by Board Member Rankin. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Moving on to new business and the approval of the district milk bid. I think Jessica is here to present those for us.
Okay. You should have in your stuff a list of the bids that we received. We got a bid back from 2 vendors, but we basically have 3 options because one vendor bid a fixed price and a escalator price. Fixed means the prices last the entire year. Escalator means that it will fluctuate with the milk market as it fluctuates. When it really comes down to it, vendor B, they did not meet our specifications for delivery. We specified 3 times a week based on our refrigeration space, and they indicated they would only deliver twice a week, which we don't have room for more milk coolers in the cafeterias. Some schools we might be able to get by, but we're recommending vendor A, the fixed price. The cover sheet, I went ahead and put on there the changes from school year 2012. The price of milk went up 2 cents a carton, and 2013, 2014 up 3 cents a carton. So if we have the fixed price, it's probably better anyways, because we don't know. Last year was kind of a weird year. It stayed about the same, or it went up and then came back down. But either way, the fixed price for vendor A is what we are recommending.
And vendor A is Highland?
Highland.
Highland Dairy.
Who have we had this year?
We had Highland this year.
Okay, and did we have the escalator prices this year, or was it fixed?
We did have the escalator this year.
Oh, I see, the .1 late. Okay.
We've never actually had the fixed prices before, but that's because usually they don't bid them. Just because you never know what the market's going to do in a year, but they went ahead and bid it this time, and I think that that's our best option.
Any other motion to approve the district milk bid?
I'll make the motion to approve the selection of vendor Highland Dairy.
Been a motion by Board Member Adams.
Fixed.
With the fixed price.
Second.
And seconded by Board Member Waddell to approve the district milk bid for vendor A, which is Highland, for the fixed price. Any further discussion?
Do we have any idea what the poultry prices are going to do for food consumption this year?
They're up. Eggs are worse, but it's all going to be up higher this year. We got the food bid back for August, and some things actually went down, which was good and surprising, but the chicken and eggs and things definitely made up for it. So we'll be looking at our menus and adjusting as needed.
That was my next question. Is that
Yeah.
cause for review of the menu? And sounds like it does.
Our breakfast menu especially, we tried to add a few things, based on the results from our survey that we did with the kids, to try to improve our breakfast participation. And unfortunately, some of those things that we have changed might have to unchange. So we're working on it, but it'll be an interesting year.
Now for a tough opinion question. In your experience, nutritional services, you still hear a lot of families look down upon where the new, all the mandates from the federal government with our lunch programs, food programs in general. In your opinion, is everything where it should be?
I think that we've done a really good job of providing the kids with lots of options. So, I mean, our participation is still over 80%. And I actually went to a conference last week that I networked with a lot of other districts in Kansas, and they're at like 60%. So we're doing fairly well compared to other districts, I think, especially with our free and reduced percentage being, under 50%. And we're doing better than some districts who have, 90% free and reduced. So I think, it has been changes and people will always complain, but we're always open to suggestions. We did a survey for lunches too, and we've made some changes there. So we're hoping to keep our students and our staff happy, and if anybody ever has any suggestions or concerns, they can always contact me.
How much latitude do you actually have, though?
The industry is catching up to the regulations, so there's definitely better things coming out. Before everything whole grain didn't have any flavor at all, and now we have 100% whole grain, and a lot of it you can hardly tell that it's even healthy.
Okay.
So, the industry is catching up, and we're finding the best things that we possibly can. And if, we hope to do some more taste tests, and we always try something before we buy it. And, we're hoping to we do the best we can with what we're allowed to do. So.
By no means was I.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Anything, I just wanted to, from your stance, just wanted to check your pulse on everything. Thanks, Jessica.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Jessica.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the technology update. Shanna and Marie will be updating us on some technologies.
Yeah, I'll start. We'll do the instructional tech. I know Scott Summers is here as well. You may want to introduce him.
Yeah, let me introduce him now if you want to stand up, Scott. This is Scott Summers, our new technology director. And I don't know what he has later, if anything, but...
Not right now.
Sure you don't want to give a speech?
Oh, yes.
I'll work on it.
Well, feel free to add anything in, but I'm going to start with our plan that we presented last spring, and this is kind of an internal document, so you don't have it, but the blue checks are things that we have accomplished, and we've accomplished pretty much everything plus some. So it's been busy, it's been really, we breathe technology every day. So I want to just say thanks to Marie and appreciate all she's done, and you'll hear from her in a little bit. But in the spring, we conducted our teacher ed tech profile, and that's what she'll go over those findings. It's basically a needs assessment. And we knew it would be aggregate data. It wouldn't drill down per educator. And so we had said that we will be looking, and we are researching another survey type of needs assessment that we'll look at. We did hire an instructional tech person who hit the ground running June 1st. She dove right in. She dug into the profile to kind of see where we were as far as the needs assessment. She also went through our digital learning plan, so she's aware of everything that's in there and knows that we will be having a digital learning committee that she'll chair that will keep an eye on things and take a look at the data. This summer, we will review that profile tonight with you all. We did share it with building admin last week at our admin meeting, so we feel like we're on track with that. She has begun train the trainer model. Every building has identified a cadre of teachers who will help lead technology in their buildings, because she can't be everywhere, especially when we have district-wide in-services. We have a lead from each building, so there may be times that we have the lead go to some of the workshops and trainings with her so that we can divide and conquer. So we have that going. And then we have actually began training all staff. And so we have done more than I thought we would probably do. I thought we would probably train the trainers, get our feet wet, and then really dive in with the teachers. But as you will see here in a second, and it was attached, and I'll actually pull it up right now, her schedule of trainings are 6 pages long, and there's 4 a day, basically. She's just running, has a lunch break. But trying to keep numbers small, trying to have the audience be K-5 versus 6-12. There are different needs there. So if you looked at what was attached, some things on campus, digital storage, we knew that was going to be a big piece of technology, and then how we projected the Apple TV, Surface Pro, Windows 10 with the high school. So that's a full slate of trainings. She and I and Dean and Central Admin, we talked a lot about really focusing on core programs and systems and training teachers on that. You'll notice on that schedule I just showed you, it's not every app under the sun that we're sharing with teachers, because that's not going to be effective. We've got to really train teachers on the core things that are going to help them integrate that technology into the classroom for that instructional use. So we are still developing that professional learning plan. What specifically we'll look at as far as technology on our in-service days and the 6th early release. But a lot of that's going to be based on the feedback we're getting back from the trainings we're doing now. The plus part down here that I'm kind of excited about, we have done a lot just getting teachers in and feedback. I know Marie started that way. She invited everyone who went to the Victoria iPad training. It was like 50 of them had come in and said, these are the questions I'm hearing. This is what I'm confused about. So she gathered that feedback before she even decided what we needed some training on. She also invited the Canvas pilot in, that was 6 through 12, just to get their thoughts on, hey, where do we start? What's step 1 in those who have no background? So that happened this summer. Again, you saw her training. We have began training all teachers. We've enhanced my learning plan. I know that was in the digital learning plan. We have an evaluation tied to every training. So that feedback is huge for Maria. I know she encourages them at every time to fill that out. But that will help decide what the next steps are for the training. And it might look different at certain buildings than it does at another building. But we feel like we've made some progress with that. And then we are continuing to research some of those individual tech survey components. One of the challenges, well, technology, there's always some glitches, and we've worked through some of those. We like to work ahead and say, okay, are all the logins going to be ready to go? And I think we hit a snafu last week, but an hour after they left, they were emailed the password, and we got things rolling. Another important piece we talked about is everything she goes over, we're going to house on the website and or give teachers access to through Canvas. Because you know how you go and you sit through it, but then you go home and if you don't have access to those things, you didn't take all the notes. So we're going to really try to support beyond just when they're here at the sessions. The other challenge though has been we have a lot of new staff, and we did not want to leave them out. But they're not always in our system. They haven't always been given the laptops and the technology. So I just applaud everyone who's helped with those efforts, because that's been a separate email group. That's been setting up time before to get devices in their hands. But there's too many of them and they're anxious. They're chomping at the bit to get in here and get learning. So I want to thank everyone who's helped with that. Those are some of the things I wanted to go over as far as where we're at. Marie, if you want to come up, I know you're the one who dug through the profile and put this together, so I'll let you talk more about this.
Sure. Hello.
Hello.
Okay, so the data you'll be seeing here is from the ETP that the teachers took in the spring. It's basically to let them express where they're at with technology integration in their classrooms now and not where they want to be. I was speaking with Apple, who designed this survey, on the phone, and they talked about that a lot of teachers confuse those things and tend to project what they would like to do in their classroom with technology when they answer the questions as opposed to what they're currently doing. However, they must not have done that too much, because you'll see a lot of our teachers are at a very foundational level. We just have a few in each building, all of which we hope, and I think we believe are members of the cadre and are now assisting us with training other teachers.
And
So-
we had some questions when they took that, so we clarified.
Yeah.
We know what the possibilities are, but try to answer this survey based on what's happening now. And you have to remember, K-8, that was age-old technology, infrastructure, but that's okay. We needed a baseline, and again, we will continue to give this assessment and show growth, we hope. So.
Right. So this data, here to begin with, well,
Do the errors.
oh, yeah, they do. Look at that. This explains, and is this attached, Shanna? They
Yes,
have
they
this?
have.
Okay. So I'm not gonna read to you here. The tool set categories basically give us an idea with where they're at with their practice in the classroom. Are they substituting tech for what they used to use paper for? Are they augmenting? Are they furthering some sort of learning in a way that they couldn't with paper pencil? Are they further developing and even getting to the point where it's a mature level 3, I guess, implementation of technology or integration of technology? This is the high school on those categories. You can see that well over half in almost every category feel like they're at level 1 or the foundational level, with just substituting, bringing in what they used to do with paper and pencil and using an app instead or using a device instead. You do see there at the high school some level 3 and even lots of level 2 with educational gaming. So they are getting to the point where they're more than substituting, but really working to augment and increase levels of student achievement and learning with the educational gaming there at the end. I don't know how much these categories, if you have questions, please stop me and ask.
What
Go ahead.
What falls into social?
Right.
Mobile,
That's,
and-
I wondered if, yeah. And actually, I was frustrated to begin with until I specifically talked to Apple about the survey, because the questions that are on the survey are not linear. I was a math teacher for 12 years before I did technology. Okay. It was not linearly tied to specific categories. So like this question number 12 or whatever it is, might ask something about how they share items of student work items, but that may tie into data reporting on both social and visualization and media. Or does that make sense?
It does.
Like each question is informing the data on more than one category in the tool set. Does that make sense?
Yeah, when the teachers were going through this, were they
They
able
did
to
not
ask clarifying questions?
No. And we feel like also that's gonna, I think we're gonna be able to show growth, but I don't think we'll have as much specificity as we wanted to have with this tool, which is why, like Shannon talked about, we're exploring other tools to get a finer grain on what teachers know currently are doing early in the year as compared to what they will be doing at the end of the year. So yeah. Like social, for instance, is basically how you share or create jointly. So maybe you're using YouTube or Twitter or Facebook or a blog or a wiki or whatever in your classroom, either to facilitate student work or to help students express what they've learned. Okay. Mobile is specifically about a device. Are the things you're using in your room mobile devices, or can the things you're using in your room be accessed on mobile devices when they're not in the classroom? Does that make sense? Okay, and then visualization. The guy said this was taking the abstract and making it concrete. So anything the student does to take the concepts they're learning and create models of what they're understanding and how it relates to the world around them. So that's where visualization comes in. Digital storytelling is just that. It literally is the child being able to tell a story with more than just verbal expression.
And then gaming, obviously, just moving beyond that narrative story and into practicing a skill or working to achieve higher levels of a skill through gaming in some way, shape, or form. Does that help? Okay. And again, like there's not, for those of you that are not closet statisticians, the fact that individual questions do not link directly to actual measures on the results may not bother you like it does me, but.
So, do you have takeaways, I mean, after looking at this?
I do. That especially, well, not especially, at all the buildings, we haven't had either A, the opportunity, or B, the leverage or the freedom to do everything with technology that they've wanted to do. I think it does show definitely the excitement of teachers about the opportunities that they have now with the devices that they're going to have available to them in their classrooms. You know, we have teachers coming in right now who've been using desktop computers from 12, 15 years ago who didn't take time out of their instructional day to do even educational gaming, like because turning the computer on took 20 minutes. So I feel like we are going to be able to move in that direction, but they just didn't have what they needed to do any of that prior to now.
Which is why we would have seen the no roll in the K through 5.
Oh yeah, which is why when you move down to the K, well, and here's the middle school's the next thing. Again, lot less. Obviously, you see less of level 2 and even less of level 3 at the middle school, and then just almost all level 1 K5. And yeah, they just don't have, I mean, how are they going to do data analysis using technology when they have a desktop computer that's a dozen years old? Which is, again, like I'm taking interpretations from what teachers are telling me. Obviously, I didn't work in the district last year, but. Does that make sense? Okay. And then professional engagement kind of tells us where we're at with what teachers need next to support them as they engage in integrating technology in their classrooms, and then also what areas they need the most support with. You can see here as they engage in their own learning, as they work to become what they want to see from themselves as professionals, you can see how they currently engage. We have, you know, a variety of levels of service on committees. We do have significant, it looks like at the high school, participation in working on teams. And I think that will be the area that we'll leverage most as far as training or professional development during the school year, is that teachers are already working on teams. They're already used to this collaborative model of learning from each other, and we'll be able to use that to extend further professional development opportunities. You can see some of the high school teachers are seeing flipped classroom as a crucial part of their day, and use a variety of technologies to communicate with parents as well. So.
And we've talked about, I mean, I like this because like online resources, they think it's crucial to have access to those. And we talked about building our own library of online, you know, not just with the training materials now, but adding new things and finding a way to do it other than just sending an email. We know how that goes. So we have not had that, and so I'm really excited about that. And we could probably do that through even our Canvas, our learning management system, using it at a district level where we enroll teachers in classes we have and get information out. And then teachers can have different like blogs that they share together. So this is powerful in that how teachers view what's crucial for their learning and what they need to further their engagement professionally. So we see some themes as you just go through there. I thought the parents and just that interaction with parents and communication they see as crucial too.
And using technology to support those things.
Right.
Yeah.
When you develop an online, like participate in online networks, is that going to be where I've got a question, I want to know something more about X, Y, and Z? Am I submitting a question then to the peers within the district?
To some extent.
Does it even, does it keep migrating out from there? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you have a Twitter account or if you're utilizing Twitter professionally, separate from socially. But just in general, a couple of weeks back, I tweeted something about what's everyone using as an annotation app, K5. 10 people tweeted back at me within an hour. I mean, you know, you just, and why did you like, you know, and then you can message them individually. Now, why did you choose that app over this other app? Or why did your district, how did your district justify spending the money on that app when this one's free? Or, you know, and just opening that conversation with people who have already made those decisions and people who are already leveraging those tools in their school districts. So yeah, I mean, where we used to maybe talk to the surrounding counties, you know, we would see what was going on right next to us, or even just in the state by attending state conferences. Now we have the opportunity literally globally to talk to other educators that are doing the same things we're doing and working to help students the way we're working to help students. So yeah, I think Twitter is definitely, but even YouTube. I mean, there's a lot of educators across the nation and even across the world again who are utilizing YouTube to disperse their training materials for free. You can PC online, if you go to YouTube and type in and search PC online, their courses are all free and they can teach you to do innumerable things with the devices you have available to you. So, yeah.
And so, and we have some good support. We're on the phone at least twice a week with the conference call, the Canvas system, making sure that's ready to go, and then Apple, our project manager. So there's a lot of weekly touching base, making sure, because why reinvent things that
other people are doing it, and they're willing to share it for free.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing we're doing with Canvas so far besides the initial startup, we haven't paid a dime for anything past that, and they just give it to us. I mean, you know, it's been extremely well supported.
There's a lot of videos in their Canvas community there. I know one of the things we have talked about, and I don't know, Scott, if you were going to share, or Dean, we've talked to teachers about the iPads. There is a setup. You know, anytime if you have an iPad, there's multiple steps to it. So through the enrollment process, we will be sending emails out to parents to verify their account. So it's important that parents, and we'll get this out through enrollment, that they look for those emails and that they verify so that we can move forward, so that when the students get here, we can go through that process. But we also know that we're going to start with a pilot group to get them going, just to make sure everything from Apple's side to our infrastructure is ready to go, and then we'll widen it out. So we've told teachers too, do not plan on iPads in the hands of students the first couple weeks of school. And really, when we step back, that's the time to get to know. We want to build relationships. The technology, again, is a tool. We have learning objectives, and that the technology will be used to help meet that. But that's not the end-all, be-all. So we want teachers to know that now, and you can't replace that getting to know the face-to-face interaction as well. So just trying to get that word out. And again, I don't know if we have any other updates from IT.
Is high school just doing what they've always done, just with a new device? Their deployment will be...
I mean, I guess you would say that Canvas is, well, okay, so one of the teachers who came to training the other day said she felt like that Canvas is Moodle, which is what we were using for a learning management system prior to now, on steroids. And it just has so many more options, and teachers are able to customize in ways they were never able to with Moodle. Moodle pretty much looked one or two ways from a teacher and student perspective. With Canvas, there are 15, I say 15, there are literally probably hundreds of different options for ways to set up your Canvas course and for ways to distribute material to students, and then also to collect things back from students.
I was actually talking about deployment.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Well, the Windows 10 really isn't released till the end of July, and there's some training I don't think the setup is quite like the iPad. Scott, I guess maybe you could address that.
It's not the same as the iPad, but as far as when they were picking up a laptop before, it'll be pretty much similar to that process.
And are we rolling Windows 10 out on everything?
Windows 10? Yeah. Right now, Microsoft has that update slated, I think, the 29th or the 30th. So we're going to go through and update them all before we put them in the hands of students.
And part of that is, I guess, Windows 10 is a lot more like 7 and...
A lot more user-friendly.
Right. Instead of training on 8 and then 10, we're just going to wait and roll out 10. And they're sending trainers to do that in early August.
I think in general, I mean, when you say the difference, I think the philosophical difference in expectations is a lot different at the high school about how they're used, what teachers do, all of those things. So it'll be different. I am very confident that it'll be different in that sense. Plus, we'll have technology that works when it's supposed to. There won't be an excuse of, well, I couldn't do this or that. So I think expectations is the big thing, not just high school, but overall. But that'll be a big change.
And kind of related to the expectations and the usage question, you have these tool set skills where we are now. Is this going to be measured again in the spring to see where they
Yes.
are? And what are your targets that we're looking for in each of these categories?
I think that's the kind of thing that we need to be establishing with building principals as they get back in their buildings and we start having tech-specific admin meetings. I feel like they're going to have more information about what this is telling us before they can set targets for where we're headed, just because the data is ambiguous. It does not, you're the science person, Dr. Adams. But it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't link to specific questions, so they can't specifically say, well, with item number 12, we want half of our teachers to be marking significant, because item number 12 is tied to 6 different indicators. So it doesn't, does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, because the questions are established around a construct. Each of these are constructs, which in some ways shows a more holistic measure of their abilities.
It does.
Rather than saying, oh, we're going to work on that answer and we're going to make a difference. Now it's holistically, as a teacher, do you have the skill set to move forward? So
I hadn't been looking at it that way.
It does make sense to me how that's done and why.
Good.
So, but okay, but I'm curious to see as we move forward, I'd be very interested in finding out where we see the target setting, because I think that was a concern this spring as we give you something, what's going to be the accountability we're looking for, and so that would be great to know we're going.
And whether or not we have a percentage that are shifting from level 1 to level 2, or from level 2 to level 3, or here on the professional engagement from minor to significant, or
But I think that would be good to
I do too.
help us. And if it is by buildings, that's fantastic that we will have a
and we do have if you guys are interested in the K-5 data by individual buildings, we have that. This was the aggregate of all elementary. Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions on the technology stuff for Shanna or Marie?
I'd say I'm really glad to see, hear about this, and particularly the excitement of the teachers and investing in it, because I know that was something we wanted to be sure that teachers would invest the time to make it effective.
Yeah, just one more note on that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. There are, and I know you saw the list. There are over 50 more classes between now and the first day of school, and right now we have over 500 participant enrollments. So now teachers can enroll in up to 5 or 6, depending on their grade level. But that's just a huge outpouring of, we want to come, we want to learn, we're engaged.
Yes.
Okay. So compliments to you and the team here putting this forward.
Thank you, guys. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the CRMIP authorized representative.
This is the same thing that you guys authorized a couple weeks ago, but after they, the Kansas Attorney General's office and also the Kansas State Department of Education reviewed it, and they put some additional language in there that they would like stated. So it doesn't change anything other in that regard, except for some legality things that the Attorney General's office wanted in it. So if acceptable, we just need you to go ahead and authorize me as the representative again.
I would make a motion to recommend Tracy Kaiser as the CURMIP authorized representative.
Second.
Moved by Board Member Waddell and seconded by Board Member Rankin. Any further discussion on this? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the district staff handbook.
This is on the agenda again, and really the only change right now would be the date, 2015-16 school year. As we go through negotiations, there may be something that changes in here, but I think it's important we have something to begin the school year. And until we get that far, I'd like you to approve the district staff handbook now, and then any changes, we will do that as we go through.
I make a motion to approve the classified staff handbook as presented.
Second.
A motion by Board Member Rankin and a second by Board Member Fox. Any further discussion?
It just want to clarify that. Sorry. Sure, clarify that this is just a working document, and do we have to have any language in there that says that as negotiations may bring forth different items? Because I was looking at it, there were some things we're still negotiation about, or is it just
feel
I don't know.
I'm not sure I understood your
Well,
question.
if we approve this, is this become binding, or is it an understood operational procedures when the negotiated contract changes, the handbook will change concurrently with
Well,
that?
if there's any conflict, then you change your handbook. So it's a fluid document.
All right,
That's
that's-
approved from time to time by the board.
Okay, that's all I just wanted to clarify on.
Thanks, Bill. Any other questions? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Next item on the agenda is the recommendation of appointments. And I believe Sarah has basically put those on the list there. Danielle Lang is going to continue with the EA Title I representative. Josh Waddell will do the early childhood connections. Principals, we have basically moved those. Craig Pallister will be joining that. Teacher reps, I believe, will stay the same. Community reps will stay the same on the technology committee. The coordinator obviously will change with Scott Summers, and then the instructional technology specialist, Marie, will also be joining that. Foundation board basically stays the same, and actually I got to look at it, I think I was on there before that, so it's not necessarily a recommendation of the board, but Curtis and Tammy. The Hayes Rec Commission representatives will stay the same. Ellis County Coalition for Economic Development rep, which is Dean, will stay the same. And then the KASB Convention representative, this is something I'd actually reached out, I believe, to Luke on this, but Dean and I actually talked a little bit, and due to the fact that that's date-based, I think we'll wait till it gets a little bit closer and see who is available. We can fill out the stuff that way, because it is certain that we can make sure everybody's available for those dates. So those are the recommendations for the appointments for those boards. Any questions or anything on any of those?
Do we need to approve those appointments?
Do we need to approve those?
Yes, I think so. Or do we? I don't remember if we did last year. Bill,
Well, those are your appointments, so they don't
no.
necessarily need to be approved by the board.
Okay. All right.
That way you're not opening it up for discussion or disapproval.
There you go. Okay, moving on to the next item on the agenda, the KASB policy updates.
They are attached. We went through and made the changed what we had talked about with a couple of the policies to say what we're currently doing, made the recommended changes, and recommending that we approve the KASB policy updates as presented.
Your motion.
I make a motion to approve the KSB policy updates.
And motion by Board Member Waddell. Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, that's seconded by Board Member Adams. Any further discussion?
I had a couple questions. On the policy for school vehicles during the summer, is that the one? Summer transportation. Looked like we had a couple of options. Do we need to specify which option we're going with? Or did you say? Maybe. I was actually reading the detail and then backed into the summary, which was not the way I should have done that. Workers' compensation.
I think that, Sarah, do you remember, I think we
We don't use transportation of vehicles anywhere during the summer.
So we don't
we
allow
don't.
that at all?
No.
Okay. So that one just doesn't apply to us?
Correct.
And that's why it wasn't in the summary. Okay. And so everyone in the district understands that, and no one ever requests that? So it's just a non-issue? Is that correct? Okay. All right.
Does that cover buses and everything like that? Because I know we still do have some buses running and things like that.
They don't do the pull, drop off, or
Oh.
pick up anymore.
Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
I'm sorry. I had one more question. Can I go ahead and ask it?
Yeah.
I think, Mr. Jeter, it's for you. And again, I may have been looking in the detail, but with the change in state law regarding weapons, concealed, I can't remember the exact wording, but
Concealed carry.
is it concealed carry without a permit? Specifically, it sounded like the language said that as long as it's in a staff person's locked car, that was allowed. So that means in our parking lot, our school parking lot, someone could have a locked weapon in their car.
I believe that's correct.
And we have no ability to say otherwise?
No. Let me look into it. I
Is it-
think that's the answer.
I just wondered if, because it was, I mean, if we're able to say we won't allow it in the school, could we not also say we won't allow it on the parking lot premise?
School grounds.
School grounds.
I'll get an answer for you.
Okay.
Any other question?
I'm sorry.
That's right. Next item on the agenda is the discussion by board members and agenda requests. If anybody has anything?
Can I just add, first of all, Mark's job is to find something better to do in Washington DC. He's on vacation and he's tuned in. Not that who wouldn't want to in Washington DC. But to clarify, because Sarah, you asked about.
I know,
at the
I didn't
high
know he
school.
was on vacation and tuned in, or I never would ask.
Well, no,
Sorry,
that's-
Marty.
No, that's great, but to clarify, the students at enrollment were given, issued the laptops in the past. They will have them when school starts. Enrollment's August 5th, and that's when we're getting trained with the Windows 10. So with this year, it's not going to be exactly like it has been in the past in that regards, but it shouldn't take 2 weeks to get them in the hands of the kids at the high school. It will happen when the first day of school starts, so.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr.
Great.
Straub.
Thank you, Mr. Stroh.
Any other discussion or agenda requests? None. Next item of business is the executive session. Dean, I believe we need an exec session. I'd make a motion to enter into exec session. How long do you think, Dean?
Bill, 30 minutes?
At least.
Yeah.
You asked me, I don't do most of the
That doesn't
talking.
sound good.
Make a motion to enter into exec session for a period of 30 minutes to begin at 7:45 and end at 8:15, to include the board superintendent, assistant superintendent, director of finance, director of curriculum, and the board attorney for the purposes of personnel and negotiations. I have a second. Moved and seconded. Further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?